So welcome back to our 2D platformer series. At the end of this series, you'll be capable of creating your own 2D platforming game. So to celebrate the latest release in the Legend of Zelda series, let's take a look at how to implement Ultrahand to our platformer. But before we start, please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. So in Unity, let's start by creating a box that we'll be able to grab and rotate. Create new sprite, attach the sprite to it, add a box collider, add a rigid body to it as well. And let's move it like a bit to the front. And make sure to add an even trigger to it. Add a new type, point it down, and click plus. So later on we'll be able to detect if we click the box. And in order to make our click detection working, let's go to our camera and add a physics to the raycaster. And since we'll also need an even system game object, the easiest way to add this one is to just create a new canvas and then delete it. And there it is. And that's almost it. So let's create another one of our famous scripts and attach it to our box. And now let's open it. So in the latest version of Visual Studio, let's start by removing everything that we don't need. Like that. Let's start by creating a few variables. And that's it. Get access to our rigid body component. And finally let's create our function to grab the objects. So public void grab. And in here, let's tell our box that we grabbed it. So disable its gravity and freeze our player's position so we are not able to move him. So next up, let's create our drop function in which we revert like all of these. Like that. Now the last thing that we have to do, if we're currently grabbing our box, we want to drop it as soon as we stop holding left. So if drop. And while we are holding it, let's get our mouse position on the screen. Correct its Z position. Calculate its position in Unity. And teleport our box to our mouse position. So transform dot position equals mouse position. And those two should be rigid bodies 2D. There you go. And that's already it. So let's take a look at how it looks like. And back in Unity, don't forget to assign our grab function like right here. And the player below here. Now let's take a look at it. That's already pretty awesome, isn't it? But what if you want to rotate it like in midair? And that will be way easier than you think. So let's make a new comment here. And let's check if the mouse wheel is getting touched at all. Then we want to rotate the box like by 45 degrees. So times 45. And if you think that's already the tip of the sphere, we can do it even better. So let's cut out this one and put it right here. And the funniest thing is that this will still work. Because if we don't use our scrolling wheel, this will be 0, so this whole line will basically remain neutral. And now let's check if it works. As it should be. Awesome. But somehow I'm still missing something. What if we want to have a cool animation when using Ultrahand, like in Zelda? So don't worry, you can create a pretty cool effect by creating two sprites right behind our box. Attach a sprite to it, and keep this one on 0. And let's make it like a bit transparent, and increase the size of it a bit. And the second one. Let's add an animation to it. And in here, let's rotate the first sprite clockwise, and the second one counterclockwise. Set mode to auto, make sure it is in the default state. And for the first time in this series, I'm gonna reduce the speed of it. And make sure to disable these by default. So back in our code, let's create one of our animation structs. If you don't know of these, please check out the video and link it right here. And get access to our animator. And that's it. Now all we have to do this time is to play our animation right here. And to stop it over here. And now let us go on to our final result. Don't forget to attach our animation right here. And now let's get into it. And now as you can see, we've actually managed to add Ultrahand Intro or 2D platformer. And that's all that you had on our list today. So if you want to find out how we added these bikes to our map, please check out the playlist. And I'll see you next time.